Here are three statements made by an MP in the House, by Kenneth Clarke and by Vince Cable. Will give you an idea of their position. So the MP says, ever since the instigation of the NHS in 1948, the most respected part of the health service has been the traditional GP surgery. That is a robust private sector initiative within the health service. So that's making that point. Ken Clarke says, the important thing for anyone who engages in the provision of professional health services and healthcare companies in this country is that they have to comply with UK standards and regulations in just the same way as British healthcare providers. And as I say, those standards will remain under the sovereignty of this country. Finally, from Vince Cable, there is no requirement in TTIP for the government or future governments to open NHS services to further competition and private sector provision. The right to decide on the provision of public services will continue to remain with national governments regardless of the progress of TTIP. The fundamental principle will remain that access to NH services is based on need, not ability to pay. And just see, that's the kind of argument from pro-TTIP people. Thanks.
Thank you. Yeah, they're very keen on the GPs in the private sector. A lot of GPs actually do think they're in the private sector, but then you remind them that they have pensions and allowances from government and wage scales and a whole bunch of things that are not at all self-employed. It's really just a bit of spin. They've got a little bit more independence than a straight-up employee has that's a slightly mixed status, but they have state pensions. They're not actually self-employed at all. Helpful narrative for the privatisation, though. Yes, the incoming companies will have to comply with the UK standards. Yeah, they will. And that's why the UK standards are being dropped. That brings us back to the deregulation bill, which is going to allow any law or regulation in this country to be removed or rewritten or whatever if it hits profits. There's been a lot of changes already to basically reorganise things for the private sector. So yes, they will have to comply with UK standards, but those are UK standards written by complicit politicians. Point 3. Oh, these are weasel words. They're strictly true. Obviously, the lawyers have been writing them. Yeah, TTIP does not require further NHS opening. That's because the whole thing got dumped in the market on April Fool's Day 2013. They've already done the dirty work. Services are going to catch up with the degradation that the market will bring to us, but the whole thing's already been dropped into the market, and the market will now do its job in getting rid of the public services whose funding has thereby been destabilised. The public services are not operating in a free and open market at all. Everybody's operating in a stacked competition market, and competition law regime is deliberately aimed at attacking state monopolies. You read it, and it starts to go on almost immediately about abuse of dominant market position. Basically, competition law, and indeed the trade law regime, is an attack on government autonomy and government abilities to represent the public interest.
Okay, we're going to open up the floor now.
Can I say another thing about that?
Sorry.
Right.